Welcome back, episode 142 of Revisited, and we are done with viewer request month 4. Thank the Lord. So we're back to things that we want to do, and by things we want to do, I mean things we don't want to do but will do. We are talking about the Weeb Commander and his video of My Hero Academia's new ending is perfect. There's really no description.
I hate when they do that. Say something.
Nah, they're good. We've done a Weeb Commander video twice.
Yeah. I don't remember.
We definitely did when we read the My Hero Academia chapter, and I feel like we did one more, but maybe we were just looking at a lot of their shorts. And I finally read the newest chapter.
And it was perfect.
I guess so. It's a really bad chapter.
It's a really bad chapter.
And the issue with it is, first off, the complete expository nature of their conversations as a whole. Showing a bunch of heroes ranked that, like, why do I care? They're talking about, to go up in the rankings or to get ranked is becoming more and more complex. But we don't know the complexities of that thing.
Not.
And because of that, like...
Number 13 means nothing compared to number 26.
And we have no idea why. And we have no idea why these people are placed the way they are. These people are like, I'm doing nothing. Those people are amazing. And they're ranked lower than the person saying, I'm not doing anything. They're better than me.
And like I said on the podcast, it is pure and simple checklist. It is people wanted to hear this or see this, so I'm going to put it in. Where are they in their rankings? Well, Froppy's 36. Yeah, sure, why not? And that's all it is. Yeah, sure, why not? You can see her as 36, right?
I'm like, I could be like 9. Because he's ending
racism. But is there enough people to vote for him to be higher in the rankings? Because if there was, why were there so many races to begin with? If it's one dude can just be like, hey, yo, can y'all chill out? And they're like, I guess we can chill out.
On top of that, you got somebody like Bakugo when he finally gets on the list and then he drops. When did he get on that list? Because people are going, he was put super high based on the way people felt the way he handled the situation with All For One and that whole fight. And then it's like, that, depending on when he was added, was like 3 years ago. And if it was right afterwards, like right after he graduated school, you come out of it and you go, well, he dropped 13 places based on attitude. So what's the balance? What is it
that makes somebody higher or lower? It just means it's meaningless numbers for a Wikipedia page. And that's all that it is.
And I can't even say people got what they wanted. It's like, hey, Kaminari Jiro, what's going on over there? Absolutely nothing.
Like I said, it's a checklist. It is just address this. We are addressing it. It's nothing.
But they didn't, because you got the stuff they built up with legitimate built up in the series, Momo and Red Riot. I mean, not Momo, Mina and Red Riot.
I was saying, like, what?
Yeah.
I missed that.
Legitimately built up in the entire series. And did they say like 6 words to each other in this?
I don't think so. And I looked back on the chapter just to make sure. Deku says nothing to anybody other than Bakugo and Todoroki in that entire party. It is just them expositing information that they already knew.
Yeah.
And flashcards going, in Mineta is 106. Because I guess he's fondling people? What's going on?
No clue. Shinzo isn't even ranked. He's just not even part of this. Why?
I think it's like he's unranked because he's stealth guy or so. I don't know. I don't think that is. I don't know. It just doesn't matter because Red Riot, he was Fat Gum's sidekick, and then he hops on the scene and he's already 13 or so. He's 12 or 13.
Yeah.
But he's already there, so Again, if it's a ballot thing, do you check it as he's on the scene now? Do you have to wait before getting out of your sidekick role for when the next counting of the rankings come on so that you can be on the ballot?
How frequent are the rankings? Because let's say you hop out right after, and if it happens once every 2 years, where you're just an unranked hero for 2 years.
If it's quarterly, can you do your business in the first month? They're like, yeah, I'm number 13. Coast for the second month, and then for the third month, bring it back up. Like, hey, I'm still here, y'all. Don't forget about me. It just doesn't. It's just all just information that is just here. You go now. Shut up about it. Mm-hmm. Here, Jiro's 26. There you go. It's like, what does this do for us? Why is Anima a sidekick as opposed to a hero? Why was Kirishima a sidekick for all this time when Bakugo has his own agency?
Invisible Girl has her own agency.
What is the process to make an agency? Any of this, and it's all just here you go.
When that Himiko stuff happened, I laughed so hard. I was like, this is just absolutely ridiculous what they're doing right now. I can't.
Ghost.
I can't. Because even when you see these ghost-like creatures in other anime and they give the person a little push, it's typically like, hey, the push, you look behind, they're not there, blah, 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 blah. She gets a push. I mean, they're like 15 feet apart from each other. So she got an actual shove. It wasn't like a stumble or anything. She got pushed into her. Yeah. Looks back and is still essentially conversing with Himiko and listening to her words.
And this means just standing there just like...
Yeah. This means Himiko absolutely was part of her. There's no other indication of what it could be.
And now we have to recognize that either souls are a thing or quirk...
post-death quirk
genes or something.
What if there's quirk awakenings? Why can't it be quirk deafenings?
But if you get a blood transfusion from somebody, are they just always with you, or is this just because her powers were blood related that it is a special mixing? But it wasn't really her blood because it was Uraraka's blood. But it wasn't. But it was.
And we're treating this as real because the series makes it feel like this is absolutely what happened, as opposed to just something in Uraraka's mind.
Mm-hmm. She's been having dreams for a month.
Yeah, the dreams went away and then they came back for a month. And it's like, is she trying to tell me something?
It's just... And why couldn't it just be her as an adult woman going, hey, I like that dude, and we have a lot of free time now.
How about we have a conversation?
Why can't it just be that?
We're like, how long after the end of My Hero is the ending?
8 years.
We're 8 years later, and these mothers have not sat down like I like you.
It takes a literal dead person
and Bakugo to go, hey, you gotta understand, buddy. You
gotta sometimes grab for what you want. So it makes no sense for that to happen in 8 years. Absolutely nothing. I understand people are busy and whatnot, but nothing.
Yeah.
Adults.
But are they busy if it's like, hey, we've got so much more free time these days?
Uraraka has her quirk counseling thing.
Even Vien.
Which is like, still just like a whatever.
Yeah, because she has all these people helping and she's just like, oh, well, this is my me time. But it seems like she does just have me time and she's not using it for anything.
It's just check.
Like give me a phone call. In 3 years after they graduate, a phone call of just going, hey, can we meet up sometime?
Hey, we need to talk. This is something's here, and we need to mush this. And the Bakugo thing when they're in the car, It's just like, oh man, he wanted to invite you to his agency. I thought Bakugo saw Deku as an equal. Now he wants him to work at his agency?
Well, working at the agency doesn't necessarily mean that you're working quote unquote under him, because it could just be like a co-CEO type deal eventually.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, sure. But it could absolutely just be, hey, we're saying you're under my banner, but let's be serious here. We're both equals here.
In the eyes of the public, it would be Bakugo
sponsored
Deku.
They're like, hey, they're inviting me to all these quirk seminars and classes, but this month's just like, Deku's real?
He forgot. He just forgot. Okay? All right? We're not thinking about that. I kind of like how All Might just died in the time between chapter 430 and 431. He just doesn't exist in this world anymore.
Yeah, cooked, whatever.
It's just because she's fulfilled his purpose.
Mm-hmm. Hawk says not.
Like I said, almost every single sentence in there just feels like a purposeful exposition to be like, shut up, here is your information. Miracle's number 6. Okay.
What does that do for me?
Good for her. Gang Worker's still in the top 10. Okay. That's all it is. What does this do?
Alright. This has been a bad frame. That has been
it has been a very bad frame.
I am doing it through the browser so we can speed it up just a smidge.
Because he's a synopsis boy as well.
Hey, remember a couple of months ago when the ending of MHA came out, specifically chapter 430, and everybody was kind of upset about it because they're like, oh, what do you mean Deku's not a hero anymore, even though the ending of the story literally ends with Deku being a hero again with the entirety of class.
You've misunderstood people's issues with that thing.
Again, this is if you're looking at one Twitter sentence of why isn't he a hero with no explanation behind it, absolutely. But nobody's just going, hey, that is the beginning and the end of my argument as to why this sucks, why the Deku thing doesn't make sense. Nobody's just going, why isn't he a hero? Oh, he is a hero at the end. Oh yeah, I guess I just didn't read it. No, the point is he wasn't a hero through all this time when he said he was the number 1 hero, and it's like, well, he's a metaphorical, thematical number 1 hero. Hey, get this trash out of here.
Class 1A because he gets a wearable superpower hero suit from the United States from the Shields. Yeah, I remember it too, because it wasn't that long ago, and I was one of the few people on the internet who actually enjoyed chapter 430 of MHA. Yeah, I mean, obviously, there was things that could have been answered in 430. We didn't get to see how Deku and Uchaku ended up, and we didn't really get to see as much of Deku post-time skip as I would have liked. And yeah, the ending seemed to kind of imply that when Deku became a teacher at UA, everybody in Class 1A kind of dropped him as a friend because they were too busy. But still, all things considered, I thought it was a perfectly passable manga ending, especially comparatively to JJK, which ended around that same time.
Don't look at this thing over here and compare it to this thing over here. Let it stand on its own. Is My Hero better? Is it good or is it bad? It's not, I don't care if it's better than JJK.
Because of this super bad thing, this becomes passable. No, you can't pass a bad thing just because a super duper bad thing came out around the same time. It's also bad.
If you were in the very end, I mean very vocal majority of people who did...
Vocal majority.
So... He mentioned 3 negative things. What did he like about it? It was the circle.
Yeah.
Never mind. What was I'm stupid.
Not enjoy the ending of MHA, boy oh boy, I got news for you. We got MHA's ending 2, Electric Boogaloo. MHA ending 2, Ochaku is in this one. MHA ending 2, Miri-U is the number 1 hero. Now, I know, I'm stretching the rhyme scheme, but you get it. Because with the release of the final ever volume of MHA, which has the last 10 chapters of the manga, Horikoshi decided to drop an additional almost 40 pages of content to satiate all of those who were upset with the...
What a great way to put it. Satiate.
Yes.
This is not quality. It is satiation. Here you go, in desert people. Drink a drop of my piss.
And that's all it is. It's good enough. It is information on the page that you wanted.
Ending of this story. And now people are upset, but for different reasons. Because while the additional ending that we've gotten in these 40 pages from Horikoshi is objectively better than the ending that we got in chapter 430, the shippers are mad. And honestly, if there's anybody in the MHA fandom we can allow to be mad, It's probably the shippers. But what do you mean the boys didn't kiss? Did we ever really think the boys were gonna kiss? Come on. Be real. It's a bad year for boys kissing. I don't know what you want from here. It's not gonna happen in MHA. It didn't happen in Arcane. I don't know. Maybe boys kissing is out. Girls kissing, super in. Kind of always has been. But also, no girls kiss in this ending. So I don't really know what to tell you. But just because no boys, no girls, and no boys and girls kiss in this ending does not mean that this ending isn't exactly what the MHA fandom needed. Because this ending does a masterful job in wrapping up the story of Class 1A and expanding on what the MHA universe looks like after the events of the time skip.
It did not wrap up Class 1A because there were several hinted at ships that did not happen.
Even if you want to talk about pure story stuff, wouldn't Mineta's story be kind of not being a piece of crap anymore, or being punished in some way for being a piece of crap? He is still allowed to be a hero. He is still ranked higher than a good amount of heroes if he's 106. I think the Wild Wild Pussycats, when they lost their member, I think they were in the 140 somethings. So he's up there. So what was the conclusion for him? What's the conclusion for Invisible Girl? Belly Button, he's just sitting there.
Yeah, he's part of their agency, her agency.
So his conclusion is just, hey, I'm here now. Yeah, I've forgiven myself.
I get to be a hero.
That's it.
The fact that there's 40 additional pages to talk about, we should probably get to talking about what is unofficially being dubbed as Chapter 431 of MHA. Because today, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking the new official ending of MHA Explained. But before we get to explaining anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. So, the first question that some of you are probably having concerning the fact that the official release of this volume isn't out yet.
They went from 32nd to 411.
Oh, jeez.
So if we want to take that there's still that many heroes, let's cut them in half.
Yes.
And just say that there's 200 heroes, because it's getting harder to be a pro hero. Some people are dropping out.
And there's less crimes, so there's less need for heroes.
Yes. So he's still better than 96 people.
If he's almost in the top 50
I forget
of
exact
heroes.
Numbers. But he's still there. So what was his conclusion? He's not a better person from what we've seen, because we get no time with them. We can only infer that he's not a better person due to his rank. But if we're going lower ranking means lesser person or lesser hero, I think Kirishima? Kaminari was like 49 or something like that. He was stupid high. It was somebody. I forget who it was.
And he has an agency, which opened right next to Jiro's.
So just stuff like that just doesn't make sense if we're not told about these things.
Was Momo there? I don't remember.
Momo was, in fact, there.
I don't remember whatever she said.
Kirishima was 44.
Okay.
She's 19, and
yeah, that was the crazy part to me, that Momo is 19. Such a versatile hero. But because you do a little bit of an anti-racism, you get to be in the top 10?
No speech bubbles for Momo.
That's why I didn't remember it.
She's sitting next to Jiro. Look at her. Are they in lesbian with each other? We'll never know.
Yeah.
No speech bubbles for Momo.
Cool.
Sero gets like 5. None of them talking to Deku, because let's not forget, nobody's talking to Deku, and Deku ain't talking to nobody.
Is how does this additional final chapter of MHA play into the canonicity of the manga? Well, one, it's written by Horikoshi as an extension of volume.
I don't think anybody is questioning the canon.
And if they are, they shouldn't be. It's goofy to do so.
You can question the movies, because it's just like, I guess this could fit in. Doesn't really affect anything. But this is a direct epilogue.
Within the chapter itself, the volume itself.
So it's completely canon, and all of the events of these additional pages take place directly after the ending of Chapter 430. Though I will admit the transition from Chapter 430 to what we're now going to call Chapter 431 is kind of rough. See, because Chapter 430, the ending of MHA, ends with Deku in his superpowered suit, hanging out with Class 1A, going off to be heroes. And thus one would assume that Chapter 431 would start somewhere along that timeline. However, Chapter 431 starts with Uchaku standing in a field by herself, looking dazed. And as she looks around and into the sky as birds fly over her, she thinks to herself, I have to organize all the papers.
What is this realm?
The Dream Realm. Freddy Krueger resides over it.
This is trash. Horikoshi needs to put down the pen if it's just, I need to overcome my love life.
It's okay to have a happy life, even with Toga dead, who had lived an unhappy life.
Go to therapy. Not quirk therapy, just normal people therapy.
What am I doing here? However, it's at this point that Ochaku realizes that standing across from her is none other than Toga. And I gotta get this out of the way here. They made Ochaku so goddamn thick. Mind you, she's like 24, 25 now, and the years have apparently been good to her because she is built like Mrs. Incredible. She is built like the amalgamation of every Pixar mom in existence. She must be using at least a little bit of her zero gravity because that thing is high and tight. This guy.
Hey, I didn't think about her, but once when I was reading this, I guess I'm just not a good enough gooner.
Yeah, you need to get your goon points up.
Kind of a through line with basically all of the characters that we're going to be talking about today, because basically everybody from Class 1A sees a pretty massive glow up. Now, I kind of wish that we would have waited until this point in time to overtly sexualize these now legal characters, but, you know, Horikoshi. Anyways, Ochaku sees
What's
Toga.
the overt sexualization?
Other times, not.
No, he's saying here. I was hoping that we would wait.
No. I wish we would have gotten the overt sexual. I guess.
Yeah, no, so there must be overt sexualization here, which is just she's in her same skin tight suit, and this would be better if it was a side by side of just like here's the cheeks before and here's the cheeks now. And you'd be like, okay, it's overt sexualization, but it's just her standing there and she got cheeks.
Legal characters, but you know, Horikoshi. Anyways, Ochaku sees Toga and says, "Oh," and in response to this, Toga says, "Ochaku, hi." Now it's this point that Ochaku wakes up from her dream in a messy office and says, "Huh? Another dream?" We then cut to Ochaku talking to Mirio, Nejire, and Sun Eater. And she says to the three of them to think the three of you would come on this.
He's really reading this, boy. He's yapping. I didn't need to read this.
That's
He's gonna read it.
Yeah, you didn't.
Same day, I'm sure everybody is gonna love it. Now, this is obviously in reference to the fact that in the post-time skip era, in the honor of Toga's memory, Ochaku has begun the Quirk Counseling Program, a nationwide program that educates kids on their quirks. Make sure the cases like Dobby.
And was there not this to begin with? Surely there was. Are you telling me that this one chick was just like, hey, that muff got a cannonball mouth. Maybe we should teach him not to just shoot the cannonball mouth.
This isn't correct because even in the chapter itself, she says it's a program that I picked up or I'm continuing or whatever.
I think 430 was also just like she's made improvements.
Yeah, no, she did not create this thing. She's just helping it along.
And Toga never happened again, to ensure that kids understand, appreciate, and know how to use their quirks in an appropriate way. Now,
okay,
Mirio,
what is she doing? How does she, a gravity person, deal with somebody who can shoot fire from their mouth whenever they get angry?
Yeah, they basically brought along Mirio and had the kid shoot powers at him, and I guess that's the quirk counseling.
in response to Ochaku,
but that's wouldn't that be like use your abilities for good and not for recreation? Because this is what this is.
But it feels more like, hey, it's a better coming to it's a way to showcase your powers without hurting people or potentially hurting people.
But what if Toga was in that class?
Good
what would
question.
she do?
Good question.
saying, "Oh, everyone's gonna be excited, all three of you are here," says, "Oh, we'll even be excited that somebody like me is here." And it's at this point that it's revealed that Mirio now has a Kuwabara level pompadour. Now, Mirio saying this confuses Nejire. She says, "Why would you say that? How curious." And Sun Eater says, "Well, it's just an honor to be here to help out with the quirk counseling system." Now, Mirio has just gotten ridiculously...
Part of the expansion is the plan spearheaded by Uravity to expand access to quirk counseling. That is in chapter 430.
Oh, so it's a program she's just trying to bring to more people.
Yes. For somehow don't know the process to do that. Don't know what
does
the
she have the
counseling
money
looks
to do it? Like, or is it just that she's friends with super powerful, well-known heroes. So now she can ask some favors that the last people may not necessarily have had access
And what
to.
are those favors? What does
Hey, you got the big three here.
standing there going, hey, hit my butt?
Yes. We won. Thank you, Aravity.
Shredded, he's like All Might big. It's revealed that he's become the new #1 hero. Then revealed that Nejire has become the #7 hero, and that
In a process that is done by, is he saving more people? Is he voted #1? Does he have an agency? He's just the #1. Aren't you happy? Because he wanted to be the #1, and they said he was the closest person to be the #1, and now he's the #1.
How is Uraraka 24?
Legitimately, how? You would think the market would be more open for the rescue heroes and the petty crime heroes, drug drivers, things like that.
Like, I could see the Kamui Woods, where it's just Kamui Woods, which is like, hey, I can stop a drug driver. I can stop people from falling. Yeah, you have a lot of ways that your abilities, but then you look at Creati and it's like, well, she also, and even better, but she's 19.
A fire in a building. I would want Creati over Nejire. Fat Gum is still #12, and there are almost no villain attacks. And this is a pure physical hero. So why? Is this just a legacy thing? That's why
It can't be, because you've seen heroes move down. Ones that were like top 20 are in their 30, 40, 50 range now. Because they got to make room for the new heroes.
I think Best Genius was like
5.
Yep, 5. Kamui Woods went up. No, Gang Orca is #21. Sorry. I could have sworn he was high.
I think he's one of those ones that went down.
Ranking. Yeah, he was #12 before.
Yeah.
So he went down. Why? How? Did he just not do as much? Is there not as much water-based crime? We don't know. So it's trash.
that Sun Eater is now Fat Gum's sidekick. The three of them talk about Ryukyu's hero agency and how it's on fire recently, and how the three of them have been training newcomers. Now, Ryukyu, for those who don't remember, is the dragon hero. Now, she's always run a hero team of sorts, and it appears as though the upperclassmen are now in her hero agency, though they don't exist under her. Now, Chalka then cuts in and says, I'm assuming you've all familiarized yourself with the list of students that I provided. I'd like to stress that the most important thing for today is communication. Even children who seem to be fine may be experiencing something terrible. Whether big or small, many children are dealing with difficult at-home environments. And because these children can't reach out to the people they love most about these deep, dark secrets or feelings that they're having, they have difficulty opening up to random strangers. But Chalka continues on by saying, I'm sure as time progresses, you'll be able to pick up on these subtle signs. So there's no reason to continuously check the papers that I gave you. Just follow what feels right. She then goes on to say that
what does this have to do with quirk counseling? Quirk counseling seems like, hey, I could turn into metal and it just randomly happens and I gotta stop for a second and recalibrate myself.
Or even like, hey, my powers are seen as a negative, so I'm gonna work with the quirk counseling so we can come up with ways that my powers can be seen in a better light.
Like Shinzo could have used the quirk counseling. But this just seems like regular counseling. Quirk counseling seems like, hey, your powers are great. Everybody's unique in their own way. Use them for good. Anybody can help anybody. My powers is growing apples. Well, the world loves apples. I love apples.
Maybe it's a way to like give those teachers a break where you had that teacher in the provisional exam, the makeup exam, where it's just like, this is basically a break for me. As opposed to this is basically a break for me, you have a dedicated, hey, after school or during recess or whatever, we have the kids showcase their powers, work through them, that type of thing.
I mean, that's not what's going on here.
Hey, I'm just offering potential things that quirk counseling could mean, because the series is reticent to explain it.
The average time is 1 month, but it changes on a case-by-case basis. And I don't necessarily know exactly what Ochako is referencing here, but I'm
Never mind. Like, this is the problem. We don't know what the is going on.
It just is, baby.
It's
So
a perfect chapter. We're gonna get this explanation, and we don't know what the she's talking about.
It's being improved. She's yapping about stuff and time frames and like that. You're just like, I don't know what's going on, but she sure is doing it.
Cheeks.
So what Ochako was saying here is that in order for kids to fully open up to her and the rest of the adults involved in the quirk counseling program, it usually takes a month of working with them to figure out what's truly bothering them. And
what is working with them? One-on-one counseling in big group? Because if you're going 1 month for each student, you don't have the time.
Nope.
Simply tells the upperclassmen to focus on making friends, as many as they can. At which point, Sun Eater, the local introvert of this crowd, says all of this must be exhausting for you, but Ochako assures him that it's not, and that she gets help from a lot of people rather masterfully. She tells them that Hawks, who's now the president of the Hero Association, for those of you who don't remember, constantly negotiates with the Ministry of Education on her and the quirk counseling program's behalf. Therefore, he's been able to allocate a lot of help from the government to the quirk counseling program. That is to say,
what help?
Okay. So what did she do?
She's on the ground and
She sounds like a glorified, like, moderating volunteer.
more admin type of thing.
Well, it has to be since she has an office and everything.
that a lot of Hawks' job, now that he no longer has a quirk and can't really operate as a hero, has become clerical work to make sure those who are doing the real good boots on the ground work, like Ochako, get the funding that they need. This is really cool. I actually really enjoy seeing behind the curtain like this. But what I do find
Then
is
it was one line. That's really cool. That's enough for you. Just one line of just going, yeah, we're getting funding from this dude. Don't know what the process is. Don't know if it's being allocated from other places. Don't know how difficult it is to get that funding or the help to get the heroes where you need to go. It's cool to just have it there. That's just not enough.
I had forgotten how much I hate his editing.
The zoom in.
Zoom out, the pans, the shaking of the screen.
Always need to move.
It's such
TikTok,
visual noise.
the aggravating about this is that what Ochako is doing is really no different than what Deku is doing in the post-time skip era. Both Ochako and Deku pretty much primarily are on the front lines battling against superheroes, and that's because that's not really what Japan needs right now. Ochako is focusing on making sure that cases like Toga and Dabi's never happen again because of how those cases affected her and the people around her. And because Deku flourished and became the world's #1 hero, albeit for a small amount of time because somebody in All Might gave him a chance, Deku is actively trying to give that same chance to students at UA. And yet Ochako doesn't seem to get the same level of flack for doing exactly what Deku has been doing. But I think the truth of the matter is it just boils down to the fact that in the post-time skip era, she still has her quirk. But I think these roles are perfect for both Ochako and Deku. They make sense.
The reason why she doesn't get flack is because we see exactly why she wanted to do those things. Deku was just like, I want to be a hero, I want to be a hero. Okay, I can't be a hero anymore, so I'm just going to be a teacher, which is the next best thing. We see exactly the step that Uraki get to, where she just goes, people need to learn about their quirks in a way that will not hurt themselves and that they will be comfortable with it. And this is the way to do it. What is that way? We don't know what that way is because we don't know about the information about the quirk counseling thing. But this is the way. Deku just went, I want to be a hero. This is my dream. This is all I ever wanted to do. I did it. And now what? Well, a teacher.
With Uraraka, with Toga, if something like Uraraka's whole infrastructure and whatever existed, we may never have seen a Toga. So her whole fight, like half of her motivations in the freaking final 3 or 4 arcs were about Toga. And it's following her well into adulthood. So it makes sense that, hey, I'm going to take a step back from just punching villains and maybe do the thing that won't create a villain or a child that's being hurt strictly based on the process of their quirk that they have no control over.
Whereas Deku was, we need to punch that guy and me and the 8 months inside of me need to punch that guy and then everything will be better. And then he did, and then he needed to start
And then
down
it
a new
was.
path.
It's what they should be doing. But because everybody wants Deku to be Vigilante Deku for the rest of his life, the idea of Deku fulfilling the true goal of his life, which is to give other people a chance.
No, it's the true goal was to be a hero.
He wanted to help people with a smile and inspire people. And if people don't know he even exists, like the plate dude, how is he inspiring people?
Like All Might did for him, just doesn't sit right with a lot of people, and that makes me upset. Anyways, enough of my self-indulgent tangent. Sun Eater then, after Chaku says that she gets plenty of help, says, oh, well then I guess you probably get plenty of me time, right? Your job's super easy, which seems to imply, no, she doesn't get me time.
And see, that is one of those lines that is just like, exposition, plot, don't worry about this is coming back.
Yeah, we set it up for this, y'all.
That's relatable. However, it's this point that the kids that they're going to visit see them being Sun Eater, Nejire, Lemillion, and Tuchaku, and they rush the lot of them as they tell Lemillion to do the thing, and apparently the thing is Lemillion morphing into a tree, sticking his butt out from the leaves and saying, look at all my peaches, try and pick them all. He then tells this group of children to try and catch his full-grown man butt with their quirks. And like, I get it, we're encouraging healthy use of our quirks here, we're making these kids laugh, but I don't love it. Now all of the kids fire their quirks.
No, this is all that we have about quirk counseling, so we have to assume that this is just what it is. What else could you like? There's nothing else to know about quirk counseling, so this is just it. So you must not like the entirety of quirk counseling other than the fact that it's helping people nebulously.
Yeah.
Chaka realizes that one of the kids isn't helping. They seem as though they want to help, but they seem too nervous to try. And so Chaka rather sweetly kneels down next to the child, reaches out her hand, and floats it. It's at this point that Mirio decides to taunt the children who are actively trying to shoot his butt as he screams at them, you can't grab my peaches, right? Because they're all mine, you have to get yours at the grocery store. However, the child that Chaka floated apparently has a Cyclops-esque ability that allows them to fire a laser out of their miner's hat, and that laser hits Mirio directly in his brown eye. I'm assuming it seems to be pretty close. Mirio puts on a big show talking about how the last person who was able to steal his peaches was the thieving Shogun, and all the kids kind of freak out and they go, oh my god, no way, the person who hit him was Oshima, who is the child who got floated by Uchaku. Mirio throws his arm around the kid's shoulder and flashes his butt at all of the children and says, it's peach season, and pats Oshima on the head and says, congratulations Oshima, you're a peach farmer, which is a really nice way of saying you're a survivor. And while the kids freak out that Oshima was able to laser.
Yeah, that last one right there. You just kind of threw that one in.
Mirio's butt, Uchaka reveals to Sun Eater that she does, in fact, have a ton of responsibility. She is, after all, continuing a project she didn't start by herself, but she loves to see people happy, and therefore she's doing what she loves. At this point, the Nejire pops over to Sun Eater and says, just like you, right, Amajiki? And apparently this is enough for Sun Eater to become so embarrassed, he tries to dig a hole to throw himself into, which... relatable. It's at this point that Achaka reveals that Froppy is always by her side, and it's revealed at this point that Froppy is now the number 34 hero, and therefore Chaku still gets to see her friends all of the time. That is because Froppy seems to work for her. We then cut to Chaku and
seems to. Froppy's always by her side. Why? Is she her best friend? Does she see that she's struggling with these things? Does she want to help her? Is she not busy? She seems to work for her. Maybe these things should have been answered here, or in another chapter, or not brought up at all.
The train home, and Froppy is asking Achaku if Toga's appearing in her dreams again. And it's this point that Achaku tells Froppy, yeah, it started about a month ago. But
hey, why did Froppy ask that right now? Did she see something in Uraraka that would make her to think, hey, Himiko showing up in your dreams
because
again?
She's showing up in Froppy's dreams too.
I guess so.
Yep. It's just something that Toga can do and does do.
she doesn't remember what happens in any of the dreams. She just knows that Toga is in them. She then wonders to herself if she's under too much pressure and doesn't even realize it, and tells Froppy that she even went in for a check-in, but the doctor told her that she was probably just tired, which feels like a really ignorant thing to tell somebody who at the age of 14 had to fight a global war against terrorists that led to the death of multiple friends. Froppy then tells
there is nothing physically wrong with you that we found. You're likely just tired.
What could you... PTSD?
Yeah.
Sure, I guess.
But how do we find that? Especially as you went in for a physical checkup.
Also,
and they found nothing.
If you're not showing any of the symptoms, then how could they say that you have PTSD?
Now, there's definitely something out there in terms of women's health where they'll say they have an issue And typically a male doctor's like, it's not really an issue, but it is an issue, but they just kind of brush it to the side. But I don't think that's what's happening here. I think it's just, hey, you came in for a physical checkup. We found nothing. You're likely worn out.
Chaku to get a second opinion, and Chaku wonders if Toga's trying to tell her something because she thinks about how the day that Toga died, Toga used her blood to save Ochaku's life. And therefore Ochaku's stuck in this way of thinking that maybe a part of Toga still exists inside of her because technically Ochaku has all of Toga's blood. But Ochaku thinks to herself that all of Toga's blood should be gone already. I mean, this was years ago. Her blood would have been cycled out.
Did she say this to the doctor? Be hard to explain it, but...
Yeah, some girl that I was kind of friends with, I guess, that stabbed me and caused me to...
Pardon?
Just follow. Stabbed me and caused me to bleed out. She had a quirk that allowed her to drink a person's blood and become that person. So as I was bleeding out, she drank some of my blood, became me, and then transferred all of her blood into me so I could survive.
Well, that wouldn't work because you're still stabbed, number one, and number two, that's no.
But it did work because I'm here.
Surely the blood would become hers again when she detransformed. And
that's what I'm here for.
Do you want us to expel your blood? Because we got a guy with a quirk for that.
He's just saving it for just this moment.
Blood expulsion in staying quirk man. Get out of here.
Time. But Ochaku can't help but wonder if Toga's blood mixed with hers, and therefore she's become some amalgamation of a mix of Ochaku and Toga. Kind of like One for All in Shigaraki. And thus Robbie comes to the conclusion that what's really important is that Ochaku finds a way to remember what's going on in these dreams. We then cut away from Froppy and Ochaku to Deku, Kirishima, and Bakugo. And no, they're not all kissing. Instead, Bakugo is complaining about why he has to give Deku a ride. Kirishima, who's sitting in the front, which
the muff ain't got a car because he a broke boy.
Fair amount of sense, says, but you suggested it. You wanted to show off your new car. And listen, I get that Bakugo would have a car. Sometimes he'll probably have to go far away places or move things, but like, he can fly, you know? Like, if I could fly, I'd probably...
Superman takes transport all the time. He literally sits inside of Wonder Woman's jet multiple times.
Hey, I need to go to the store for groceries. You fly to the store, absolutely great. You gonna explode your way home and mess up your eggs?
Yeah, what's the return trip like?
What's the return trip like?
Bread and eggs and milk in one hand, and then does the bag rip? Like, it's gotta be super strong bags. And you gotta work up a sweat for it.
Yeah, it just... I don't know why he's going, why does this person have a car? And he has not questioned the hero rankings once. But
why would you?
The number 14 or so hero can't have a car.
But like, he can fly, you know? Like, if I could fly, I'd probably just rent a car whenever I need to move things and just fly places, which is not only faster.
He also can't fly. He can propel himself in the air, but that's not flight.
That's like saying Uraraka can fly. She really can't.
But also free. But I don't know if that's illegal. Like, I know you're not allowed to just use your quirks, but he's also like one of the number one heroes. You could say he's off to go like stop a bank robbery or something. Anyways,
so now he's a liar to the officers that stop him and go, "Why are you using your quirk?" I'm still going to stop a robbery with eggs. Like, what are we doing?
The sentence, one of the number one heroes.
Yeah, I wanted to go past it because
doesn't make sense.
Especially when he's like 13.
Especially when he's not.
Apparently the reason the Bakugo is so proud of his car is because he has this miraculous back seat that's made out of the world's softest Tempur-Pedic mattress, apparently. Because Deku is just getting swallowed by this thing. And it's revealed at this point the Bakugo didn't actually want to drive. Kirishima just threatened him by saying, if you don't drive us, I'll scratch up the hood of your car with my hardening. So Kirishima keeps pushing his buttons by saying, oh, does the great explosion, dynamite murder, or whatever he calls himself, get rattled by any threat? And at this point, the Bakugo decides to direct his anger towards Deku, which is basically what he's done his entire life, so it makes sense.
Don't damage my property. It's not cool. It's like, oh, you couldn't riled up by it's like, no, man, don't mess up.
Yeah, it's like the moms that you get mad and they think they won the argument because you got mad. Like, bitch, no, I'm invested in what you're talking about and you're talking stupid.
Bakugo decides to direct his anger towards Deku, which is basically what he's done his entire life, so it makes sense, as he turns back to Deku and says, "You didn't even need a ride. You should have said no." But Deku reveals to Bakugo that he managed to get his work done early, so he was happy to hop into a ride with Bakugo. Kirishima then asks Deku if he has any students who match his style, because apparently Kirishima's looking for sidekicks, because apparently he just...
It's not apparently, he says it literally. Stop saying apparently, read the words on the page.
started his solo career, which is kind of surprising because if you remember in chapter 430, it was kind of revealed that Kirishima and Red Riot were pseudo movie stars in the post-time skip era. As when
Well, they're still part of that big war that happened, the last great war of the world, but the last uprising of villains.
Where the dude is just like, I have been controlling the world from generations, and now I will openly do so, as opposed to from the shadows.
And they stopped that.
And they punched him.
There were like 25 people worthwhile doing this, and they were some of them.
Deku was walking around in chapter 430 before he met up with All Might. We not only saw Red Riot on the TV, but we also saw two kids running around quoting, "Oh, the chivalrous Red Riot," talking about him like he was some kind of idol to them. And therefore it's kind of surprising that he's just now starting his solo career. He must...
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? Maybe we should have some more information about that, about what he's been doing for all this time, as opposed to just going, oh, here he is, and here's what he's been doing, based on a couple small sentences.
But what does just starting mean? Does it mean 3 months ago? 6 months ago? Who knows?
Enough to get in the rankings? I can't imagine this is a ranking that goes day to day.
Oh, for sure not.
That seems crazy to do. I'm going, it has to be quarterly.
Must have absolutely popped off as a sidekick for Fat Gum and Sun Eater. And this kind of makes sense because when Kirishima is talking about eating sidekicks, it's revealed that he's now the number 12 hero. But Kirishima says that Fat Gum is responsible for teaching him basically everything that he knows. And when we see Fat Gum, it's revealed that
what does he know? What did he teach him?
Yeah.
Empty words.
Platitudes.
Hey, I'm so high because I was trained by this great guy.
Breads and circuses.
But Sun Eater is still a sidekick. I can understand you'd be like, he doesn't want to be a hero. That fits his personality.
Which Fat Gum does say.
But here, you're hopping directly on the scene, and the dude that trained you is one spot ahead of you. When you are presumably in movies.
now the number 11 hero, one above Kirishima. Kirishima then goes on to talk about how Ida and Momo are now in leagues of their own and how tons of their friends have started their solo careers, even...
you are at a higher rank than
both of them.
Both of them. I forget where Ida was.
Yeah, I think Ida was like 14 or something. I don't think he was single digits.
Ida is 13.
Yeah. You're higher than both of them.
What does that mean? They're in a league of their own.
Of what?
What does that mean?
Empty
words.
Before him.
Many of our friends started the solo career before them. Why? Why did it take you so long to start your solo career? Why were they compelled to get their solo career? Why didn't they want to?
Why aren't they higher if they started before you?
It's meaning I hate this chapter.
Leagues of their own and how tons of their friends have started their solo careers even before him. And this is true because a lot of the members of Class 1A have already started their solo careers and are skyrocketing up the hero rankings.
They're like maybe 2 people above Kirishima.
Yeah, Todoroki's there.
Bakugo was, but now he's below.
I forgot about Tentacle.
Yeah, Tentacle's there. You know, number 9, I think he was. Crazy bars. Racism does a lot.
Yeah, it'll get you there.
Deku then begins to laugh at Bakugo because apparently Bakugo got a ton of applications for sidekicks, but he made every single person he brought on cry and they quit. Which is why apparently Bakugo is now the number 15 hero, even though he started at number 4. And this makes sense because in chapter 430, we saw that Aizawa was actively coaching Bakugo on how to have better bedside manner because it was tanking him in the rankings. So Kirishima,
But why didn't that work for Endeavor like that?
Yeah, he was just strong.
Is it just that there were more villains to take care of and that propelled him higher? And now that there's no villains, it's just personality-wise? But if that's the case, why is it the chick that's working with children on a daily basis not top 10 and she's 24?
objectively not accomplished nearly as much as Bakugo. Being a higher ranked hero than Bakugo is a really good indicator of the fact that it is basically a popularity contest. Kirishima says that everybody wanted to be.
Can't be. Impossible. You look at someone like Tentacle. I don't think he's more popular than Kirishima. He's just doing more.
Why is Kamui Wood so popular?
Be his sidekick because everyone was impressed with his battle against All for One, but when everyone met him, they realized he's kind of the worst. Bakugo then reveals that if one of the sidekicks who had applied said that they wanted to surpass him, he would have accepted them right away, but nobody did. We then see in the car that Bakugo got his All Might card signed by All Might. And this is important because for those of you who don't remember, a big point of contention between Bakugo and Deku in terms of their personal relationship was the fact that All Might was also Bakugo's favorite hero. However, it was Deku who was All Might's favorite and got to be trained by All Might, and therefore Bakugo was always jealous of Deku because of that. But over the years, Bakugo and All Might obviously got closer, and apparently close enough to the point where Bakugo asked All Might to sign his All Might
Yeah,
card.
apparently
So
they must have.
Since he got it signed.
Must have what's been happening. Not just, hey, walking up to him, hey, could you sign this?
Where's Eri?
Doesn't matter. She done what? Surely she would be a good
No.
bridge with the quirk counseling.
No.
That'd be like, hey, your quirk can be used. Because she has a big complex about the quirk.
Mhm.
That'd be a good way for Uraraka to be like,
No.
that two bird, one stone.
No.
Telling you how the quirk could be good, useful in society, showing you what the quirk counseling does, redoing what Aries doing. Hey, she's happy and healthy. Because she's busted in terms of the world. Arm ripped off? Not anymore.
Yeah.
She's way better than Recovery Girl, because Recovery Girl's like, it's depending on your stamina. But this is just like, it's regrown.
Yeah. I'm basically rewinding time for you.
kind of a closing of the circle moment to show that Bakugo got his closure and his connection with All Might, which is a really sweet and a really subtle way of doing it, if you ask me.
They literally did an entire panel for just that.
There's two panels for it. It's right here. We know what's going on here. It's not subtle at all. Usually, he got it signed. He still has it. It's in a place of high prominence in his car. This isn't subtle.
Go then asks Deku if he'll keep on teaching, to which Deku responds by saying yes. Now mind you, this is after Deku has gotten his hero suit created by the shields made for him, which means essentially what Bakugo is asking here is, even now that you can go be a full-time hero, are you still going to teach at UA? And Deku responds with yes, which is supposed to show us that even though Deku didn't have powers, him becoming a teacher was never a compromise. It's always been something he wanted to do, and that's very well.
No, it's not.
Show me anywhere where it says this.
He's
what he
not
wants to do.
showcased this. If he had showcased it with I love teaching people, and I've realized that. Like, he was, even if he was student council or holding some of those study sessions that Momo was
Tutoring
holding,
people.
yes, something.
Well encapsulated by the fact that
this might have happened, but when he just has his big notes of how people work and stuff like that, if he was explaining like, hey, tail guy, spring your tail up so you can jump higher or whatever, and then tail guy's just like, hey, you explained this very well, you're natural with it. Maybe that did happen. It would make sense for this to happen, but this is not some big sign as we've all known that this was gonna happen. No, absolutely not.
This is a turn that head to the camera moment and going, Deku's happy, shut up.
Yes, this is what he wants to do.
now that he could quit being a teacher, he's not going to. Deku even goes on to elaborate that he's been collecting data on the armor on the days where he hasn't had to teach, kind of like Aizawa used to. That is to say that Aizawa would go off and be a hero on the days he didn't teach. Deku then reveals that hero schools all across the globe are constantly asking him to give seminars and lectures at their schools, and Deku loves these opportunities because it means he gets to continually talk to the younger generation of up-and-coming heroes, giving them advice and telling them his story. And thus Deku reveals that while getting the armor made him incredibly happy, his feelings haven't changed. He wants to do what he's currently doing, and that's exactly what Deku should be doing. The entire...
No, Deku... If you want to say that's what Deku should be doing, then I would have liked something in between or before him actually just being a teacher that would have showcased this is something he wants to do. Because him just speaking to children, what does that do? Why is that something Deku should be doing that someone like Ace in Kaminari can't do? What can Deku provide that a Kaminari literally can't?
And Ida can't. The best that you can say is quirklessness, but he was given a quirk, so it's not like, hey, even without a quirk, you can still accomplish great things. Like, none of the best months in the history of the world gave me a quirk, and then I accomplished great things.
The point of MHA is that Deku has never been the strongest hero. It is a plot point so incredibly obvious.
Is that the point? Was that always the point?
Even if he's not the strongest hero, he was still a hero working towards the goal of being a hero.
Yes.
And what that meant to him. And then we cut to 8 years later, and it's like, no. That's what people got upset about. And this is a placation to those types of noise and blah, blah, blah.
It's the Gohan thing of he is happy.
I was thinking same thing, but I didn't want to say it.
It is pure and simple. Future Trunks going, it's Dragon Ball Super going, dang, I'm happy that Gohan is happy with his happy family. I wish I could be happy like his happy family. He doesn't need to fight.
He's happy and you should be too.
Times they literally beat you over the head with it. And the reason that Deku was
showcase that.
Yeah.
Obvious, at times they literally beat you over the head with it. And the reason that Deku was able to become a hero that could accomplish so much is because of the system that curated so many great heroes around him. A system he is now a very important cog in. And speaking of
what was that? What's the system?
And how is he an important cog in it and not just a teacher? Like, how was Aizawa a very important cog in teaching? How was All Might a very important cog in teaching?
What is Deku doing as a teacher that present Mike wasn't doing?
Or can't do?
Leading illiterate readers with open thematic baseball bats to their temples. Deku goes on to say, I think I'd still enjoy being a teacher if I still had one for all.
I think I'd enjoy being a teacher. So it wasn't even something he had thought about until he was already in that system. And then he goes, oh, I enjoy this. Even if I had all for or one for all, I still would have enjoyed it.
In the back, bro. He's doing what he wants to do. Deku then goes on to say, I'm doing...
No, he found solace in doing this, and now he's realized this is now what he wants to do, as opposed to being a hero. He had what he actually wanted to do back in the day taken away, so he had to find a different avenue, and he's found that he greatly enjoys this new avenue.
He doesn't even know that he wouldn't enjoy hero stuff more. Like, nah, this teaching... Because that was his goal. He doesn't have that daily patrolling that All Might did, saving people from burning buildings. He doesn't have that feeling of constantly doing that for years and years, which is what he wanted to do. He had those little tiny baby sidekick missions, but other than that, he doesn't really have that. So he doesn't know that I would enjoy this more than doing what All Might was doing, because he didn't do what All Might did.
Doing what I love. And now I'm back as a hero with you guys. That makes me so happy. Thank you, Kacchan and Kirishima. Kirishima then laughs at Bakugo, telling him he just turned down your offer, because apparently Bakugo asking Deku if he still wants to be a teacher was kind of Bakugo's way of asking Deku to join his hero agency. Deku goes, oh, I'm sorry, that's not gonna happen. At which Bakugo says, seriously, and maybe I'm not the best person to tell you this, I think it's about time you start being more appreciative of who you are, because if you don't, you'll miss the most obvious things. But it's this point that Deku's being pulled into Bakugo's backseat like Johnny Depp by Freddy Krueger says, you're one to talk. But Bakugo's quickly to retort to say, giving everybody special treatment means that technically nobody's getting special treatment, which is most likely in reference to the fact and is supposed to draw a thematic connection to Ochaku. See, because...
Why would that draw a thematic connection and not just a connection? What's the theme here?
He would have to know that Uraka likes him, which why would he know that? They're not really super close from what we've seen. And we would have to know that Bakugo would have to know that Deku likes her, which why would he know that? Because they haven't really seen each other like that. What information is he gleaming here? Where is he getting this information from?
treatment, which is most likely in reference
If
to the
he's
fact
getting it from a good place, maybe we should have seen that. Maybe we should have seen the three of them hanging out in the glances and him noticing those things.
supposed to draw a thematic connection to Uchaku. See, because the main point of this last chapter is that Deku and Uchaku have been doing everything that they can for the people around them, but they're ignoring themselves. That is to say that they're dominating their time, life, and schedule with the wants and whims of those they believe.
Deku is waiting on a bus! He's got the time! Stop that noise! Uraraka grinned and Deku grinned and Barrett because Uraraka has more important things going on. And she grinned and Barrett because she has important things going on. She's the bottleneck. Deku's got the time!
What is Bakugo doing for himself? We
bought a
don't
car.
know. That's for transportation.
Nah.
I guess you could say a luxury car. But other than that, what is he doing that he has that insight of you need to do things for yourself?
Dominating their time, life, and schedule with the wants and whims of those they believe they're helping, all while ignoring to take time for themselves. Now, shippers will tell you that this is just Bakugo offhandedly trying to get Deku to realize that he's in love with him, but shippers gonna ship, baby. That's what they do best. It's then revealed that Kirishima, Bakugo, and Deku were going to a restaurant to meet up with the entirety of Class 1A to celebrate the fact that Shoto is now the #2 hero. Shoto, who got tall and now's got a chin on him, says sorry for gathering you all here tonight, and Denki comes over to him and says just appreciate it. It's then revealed at this point that yes, Shoto is the #2 hero and Denki is number 44, which is pretty good for a guy whose ability is Pikachu with brain damage. We then basically get to check in with every single one of...
That is an incredibly useful ability.
Yeah, you're kind of being super reductive because the only reason it would be quote unquote Pikachu with brain damage is when he overloads himself. And how often is Kaminari going to overload himself, even after these years of training and honing his quirk?
And with enhancements in quirk augmentation, because Ida has like this nanotech that just comes off his arms and legs. So surely there's something that's not going to allow him to fry his brain.
The grown-up members of Class 1A, like Sero, who yells at Denki for making Shoto feel bad, and it's revealed that Sero is now number 36 on the rankings. Ida, who tells Shoto and Denki that a rise in the rankings is incredibly impressive and should be celebrated, especially now that the ranking system has become more complicated and fragmented, which seems to imply that it's no longer about missions accomplished, popularity, and power, and now more about a bunch of things, and it's revealed that...
Hey, what are those things? You can't just say that, dude!
Especially considering earlier he said it's basically a popularity contest. That is just like not a popularity contest. It's a bunch of things. Stopping racism is apparently high up there.
Yeah, #9, baby.
But I guess having racism done against you isn't, because Amina's pretty low.
This time that Ida is the number 13 hero, and he's got a low taper fade. We then see Momo in the background. She doesn't say anything, but she's wearing a shirt that is incredibly revealing, which is an interesting choice considering the fact that she's now legal, and it's revealed that she's now the number 19 hero. Shoji's also hanging out, and it's revealed that he is now the number 9 hero. And this makes sense because Shoji is essentially the Martin Luther King of heteromorphs, and this confirms basically what we saw in chapter 4.
Woof. Woof. Okay, so what does it make sense for Momo to be 19?
Yeah.
You have to realize by saying things that make sense, yes, they're over here, but what about these things that you're not mentioning? Do they not make sense? And if they don't make sense, we gotta question those things. You can't just talk about the things that make sense and just go, here they are.
Yeah, what is Ida doing that's above Momo?
He just brushed over Momo being 19 when she can make anything. Not like they disappear after a time.
430, which was Shoji getting an award for his work in the heteromorphic acceptance field. We then cut to Mineta because we have to, and also because he kind of looks like Shikamaru now. And he lets everybody know that words can hurt, and it's this point that it's revealed that Mineta somehow is actually the 108 ranked hero. Now, Jiro consoles Mineta in pretty much the most condescending way I could imagine, which is good because I hate Mineta, by saying, but 108's pretty good for you. And it's like, yeah, go ahead and rub salt in that wound for me, please. It's revealed that Jiro is the number 30 hero, and Pinky is the number 28 hero. We then see Koji, who talks about how everybody who's got a solo career is amazing, and it's revealed that Koji is a sidekick at the Tentacool Agency, which is Shoji's agency. With
Invisible Girl is 39 and she has her own agency? He's below
Kaminari, who has his own agency and is surely more useful than her.
Then cut to Hitoshi, who looks like Shigaraki now for some reason, and apparently his hero name is Nighthide. Oh my god, wait, no, he doesn't look like Shigaraki, he looks like Aizawa. He's never gonna beat these fanboy allegations. Anyways, for some reason it says that he's out of the rankings, which either means that he's a sidekick or he's so low in the rankings he doesn't have one. And honestly, I think it might be the latter here because he says, I don't understand why some people crave for the spotlight so much, which seems to imply that he's actively trying to not be ranked, but that would kind of mean he's just not doing hero work. And the Invisible Girl's
Yeah, maybe we should know these things with the character that we've been knowing since chapter like 40. Maybe we should know these things. He's being a hero, which is something that is like, oh, your power isn't meant to be a hero. And now they're just actively showcasing that by him not being in the rankings.
I forget her name, and she's like, me neither, which makes sense because she's invisible until, she's got to redirect a laser, and then, she's just naked. But she's 39 in the rankings, not in her age. They're all like mid-20s. That'd be really funny if the Invisible Girl was like 15 years older than everybody else, but nobody knew because nobody could see her. We then cut to Sato and Ojiro because we gotta see everybody as Sato or Shogun.
Why are you so mad about that? Why are you annoyed?
Rush says that it's crazy that everyone managed to be here tonight, at which point Ojiro says, yeah, because the number of villains keeps decreasing every year, and so there's less and less hero work. And that's great, that's awesome, yay, less villains, but also that means this is a dying industry. Just a room full of people who are gonna be unemployed because they're too good at their jobs here pretty soon. And it's revealed that
yes, so maybe we should talk about the Hero Society instead of just slapping numbers on people. We don't know, as you said, what it means to be ranked where you are. So maybe we should have a conversation about that as opposed to just going number 7 hero.
The sidekick at Wash's agency, and Ojiro is the number 32 hero. Man whose quirk is, I have the thing that 90% of land animals have, but I'm a human and mine is really thick and long. Hitting number 32 on the hero rankings is wildly impressive. And I was talking about his tail.
No, it's widely stupid. Because Invisible Girl is 39. He has a tail and he's 32.
A largely physical hero who has, I have to assume, average human strength stats. And he's higher. What is he doing to get higher? We don't know. So it's just impressive that he's there for the fact that his quirk is lame.
Hey, you monsters. Then Tokuyami and the French one, Ayoma, took a second, I got it. As Tokuyami says in his most dark and brooding way, villains will never disappear. They'll just lose their strength. And it's revealed that Tokuyami's number 17 on the hero rankings, and while that feels high, I feel like he should be higher. I mean, Ragnarok was able to go toe-to-toe with All For One for a little bit. Tokuyami was trained by Hawks. I feel like he should be higher than 17. Outside of the big 3 of Class 1A, which is Shoto, Bakugo, and Deku, I feel as though Tokuyami, outside of maybe Ito, was the strongest character.
He did that one thing and patrolled with Hawks a few times.
Responds to Tokuyami's angst with a ooey, and it's revealed that he is a sidekick at Invisible Girl's agency, which makes sense because, who's gonna shoot lasers through her? But this is actually kind of big news because the last time that we saw Ayoma, he was saying that he was gonna quit being a hero until he felt as though he was justified in his cause to be a hero. And this seems to show that
And what happened there?
I'm glad that he has accepted himself.
I'm so happy his story's resolved.
Yep. He went into the TV in Persona 4 and just went, you're not me, and then he accepted himself, and now he's a better person.
Has forgiven himself for being a traitor and is now back on the hero course.
Boy, I'm sure glad we saw all that. I'm sure glad we used up all that time with the traitor stuff and him crying and just, I can't accept myself and how can I be friends with you guys? And I'm glad that he just accepted himself off screen and we're not going to talk about it. And he's just here now.
On by saying the heroes who continued fighting after the terrible war against All For One are living proof of the fact that villainy will never win. It's at this point that we see all of the biggest heroes from the pre-time skip era and what their rankings are now. Mirko is number 6 even though she only has one of her original 4 limbs, and my god, I hope Horikoshi's next project is a hentai mag. God, she looks so good. That Sheenus is...
Ooh.
This is how I know I'm not gooning enough.
Ooh. Need to get them numbers up. Cause that's crazy. Man, she's good looking. That's fine. I'm not here for that. I like her character a lot, and her just standing there does nothing for me.
Yeah.
Number 5 is
show me her being bored. Show me her in a line for something and hearing something and snapping her over just like hey, a villain and her just being disappointed. Show me some of that.
Ah, God, she looks so good. Best Genius is number 5. His haircut's better. He actually looks pretty good. Killer Whale is number 21. Kamui Woods is still number 4, but they somehow made the Tree Man look really hot. Like, I mean, he's serving wood. Mount Lady is number 8 now. Ryukyu is somehow number 40. Death Arms is 42, so on and so forth. They give us updates on all of the heroes that we've know. And the most notable update is that my goat, Monoma, is now number 10.
Oh, Monoma's annoying. Oh, Monoma's stupid. Oh, why is he so confident? I hate Class 1B.
Monoma has always objectively had the best quirk that doesn't have the words all, 4, and 1 in it. And I wouldn't have been surprised if he was the number 1 hero. He can just take 4 quirks at a time and use them for 10 minutes, which is more time than anybody needs a quirk. And oh yeah, they made him really hot. Like ridiculously hot.
So, what does that do in terms of rankings for him?
Hey, big hand though.
Big hands there. And also, he has to know how to use them properly. So that's also a barrier.
Why would Tetsu be lower than Kirishima?
Who? It would have been funny if they were the same because that's the joke.
Yeah.
But Kirishima is jumping on the scene and he's higher and Tetsu's lower and he's presumably been there longer. It's just trading card bullshit.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter.
He's on by saying, now it's our turn, and at the end of this road is extinction. The idea of heroes will soon be extinct as villainy is extinguished. And before we go any further, I'm going to do a quick rundown on the rankings 1 through 10. It goes, and I'm going to read it, Mirio, Shoto, Mount Lady, Kamui Woods, Best Genius, Mirko, Nejire, Wash, Shoji, Monoma. 11 through 14 are Fat Gum, Kirishima, Ida, and Hanoiki. Anyways, back to the idea of heroes being extinct. This conversation sparks Shoto going on a bit of a rambling session, where he says, well, he's right. One day the world won't need heroes. They say you fought against a cruel fate, and yet you still fulfilled your duty. I hesitated and stumbled a lot along the way, but I have no doubt that I made the right choices. How can I put it? Recently, a lot of people have been telling me this, and at this point, the Deku interjects and says, are you about to brag? And Shoto says, maybe. Shoto then continues on by saying, all this stuff about destiny and duty. Even if we really are part of a bigger story, I feel like I want to keep fighting and getting to where I am now. And at this point that Shoto reveals that he's going to be going to a certain part of Japan to learn how to make chopsticks and bowls, because he believes that the soba that he makes will taste better in bowls that he makes eaten with chopsticks that he makes. And this confuses everybody, but Shoto continues on by saying, I realized something while praying at Toya's altar, which reveals to us that Toya has passed. And Shoto continues on by saying, I've always loved eating. Now, something rather fun here is being...
Here's something about me that you may not know. I like food. Water not only sustains my life, but it's also pleasurable to drink for me, all right? Those are things that you need to know about me.
How did he get number 2?
In real life as well. Muff is number 3 in the popularity polls.
Hey, he's strong, cool.
Muff is like, I like food. Who are you?
Done artistic.
This is some of the last things we will ever hear you say, and you said, I like eating.
Shoto was telling us about this revelation he had while praying at his now dead brother's altar, and he's doing it in this panel from a complete side profile. Now, for anybody outside of Shoto, this wouldn't be that notable. However, there's a lot going on with this choice artistically. See, Shoto is known as half cold, half hot. 1, because he has ice and fire abilities, and 2, because he has the white hair of his mother on one side of his head and the red hair of his father on the other. Now, the half that we're seeing while Shoto is talking about how he wants to be more than just a hero is his cold half, his mother's half. Now, not only is this a reference to the fact that it was Shoto's father, Endeavor, who pushed him into being a hero, but it's also a reference to the fact that Shoto likes cold soba. And in this conversation where Shoto is talking about how he wants to get more into making and enjoying soba and how he wants to enjoy things outside of being a hero, he's doing so while only his cold half is shown. This is also a reference to Toya and the fact that Toya's hair was white, like his mother's, and that this half of Shoto probably looks like what Toya would look like if he had gotten the chance to grow up.
The muff is just...
Some of that I could have rocked with, but bro kept going, and it's like, you're pushing it.
Used his quirk and burnt his skin to char. And thus while this moment may just seem like Shoto talking about how he wants to get into more things than just doing hero work, it's actually a masterclass in using paneling and perspective to tell a story. This for some reason makes Bakugo upset as he yells at Shoto about how you've got a lot of free time now, huh? And Shoto responds by saying, yes, I've got a lot of free time in my heart, which is a Parasite the Maxim reference. This conversation then gets interrupted with somebody screaming, what? No way! As it's revealed by Invisible Girl that the Darkness guy and the Mushroom Girl from Class 1B are dating. Sarah then uses this opportunity to point at Jiro
and who could possibly care other than the fact to bring up shipping stuff to just decanonize this? Stop asking about it. No, they are not going out together. Why not? Well, whatever.
They aren't and they shan't be.
Denki, as he says, well, what about the two of
The
you?
easiest answer is these aren't characters. They only exist on the page.
Denki, your office is right next to Jiro's. What's going on there? But Jiro laughs us off, saying, you've got it all wrong. And it's at this point that Denki reveals that when he was worried about opening up a new agency, he realized that the office right next to Jiro's was open, and he wanted to be close to her, so he opened it up there. And thus it's revealed that Denki and Jiro are just kind of friends. So if you were super into the idea of Jiro x Denki, which I guess some people were, yikes. Now this conversation makes Deku introspective as he thinks about how he's living his dream and how there's nothing better than that. And it's in this moment that he thinks about Shigaraki telling him to do his damn best. And thus Deku scans around the room and thinks
They
about
both have evil ghosts inside of them, pushing them towards to get some penis and some puss. What's going on?
Hey, y'all, please just bang it out.
Stop. I got ghost stuff to do. I'm coming in your dreams. Well, not like that.
Well, you should be doing that, but you're not. Which is
it's
why
my
I'm here.
dream for you to come, and I'm coming in your dreams.
how there's a me he still hasn't discovered. And it's this moment that he sees Uchaku and sees her laughing across the room. And as he sees her smiling and laughing, his eyes widen. But before he can go shoot his
No, they didn't. What? No, they didn't.
across the room. And as he sees her smiling and laughing, his eyes widen. But before he can go shoot his shot, everybody's phone buzzes. And it's revealed that a criminal has stolen a car and that the quirk is doing a bunch of damage. And this is why some of the people who are there celebrating Shoto can't drink, because they may be expected to do some hero work later on. And do some hero work they absolutely do, because apparently the entirety of Class 1A suits up to chase after a dude who stole a car. Could you imagine stealing a car and be like, oh, time for a fun joyride? And then the class responsible for killing basically Quirk Jesus pulls up on you? I mean, talk about overkill. Send Sero, Annie-Voice, and maybe Ojiro, you'll be fine. Momo made a railgun and fired it at Shigaraki. Do we need all 19 of us? And you won't believe it,
No.
they can't.
It's a cool shot, and we need a reason. We've already established that villains are not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
So we need a reason for them all to go, and this is the reason. I can't write properly, so I'm just gonna have...
It has to be low stakes enough that it doesn't take up a bunch of pages, but it has to be intense enough.
But it
where
can't be high stakes because I've already established that that's not a thing anymore. So 21 people or so, the number's still out on how many people are in the class.
Especially with Shinzo.
They all instantly suit up for this low stake thing. What does this do for their rankings? Is this all classified as 1 for them? 1 point? Do they have to and report this to the government? What? Hey, this happened. They're doing hero work still.
So fast they don't even show it. And as this teenager is getting hauled off by a cop dog, and for some reason I feel as though this cop dog is a reference to like some character who's like, I'm rough on crime, but I don't remember what character that is. Because when I look up dog cop on Google, I just get Bluey. I think Bluey's dad is a cop. I don't know. I don't watch Bluey. I'm not a weird adult. I'm a weird adult, but I'm not. I don't get the Bluey thing. Anyways, Bakugo's chirping Deku, saying I got here first, and Deku saying no, it was Ida. Ida's telling them not to bicker. He was definitely there first. And I'd like to point out
literally the only thing that comes up when you look up crime dog on Google. Images. It is McGruff the crime dog.
Try rough on crime and then dog.
He said look up crime dog, but I'll look up rough on crime.
Because I think he looked up rough on crime here.
This cop dog is a reference to like some character who's like, I'm rough on crime, but I don't remember what character that is. Because when I look up dog cop on Google, I just get
dog
Bluey.
cop.
Bluey's
Sorry.
dad is a was Ida. Ida's
I'm gonna look up dog cop. There might be there's movies about dog cops. Okay. McGruff does not come up when you look up dog cop.
I don't know why you would look up dog cop. Like, that's poor Google food.
That is 100% poor Google food.
Telling them not to bicker, he was definitely there first. And I'd like to point out the fact that the reason
this
the car was
movie looks
stopped wasn't
trash.
fire, speed, or...
No! He's got the stupid bad. No! It looks horrible.
His paws on his leg. Look at that poorly chopped in car in the background. Oh my goodness.
The entire
water
station.
tower.
Why
Oh,
the water tower?
This movie looks trash.
It doesn't even look like a dog that would be a cop. What are we doing? It's too fluffy.
Does the dog talk at least?
Dude, if the dog talks, it can't.
This dog ain't talking. Yeah, this dog ain't talking.
Yeah, we couldn't allow that part.
Yeah, that's a step too far, I guess.
I guess it just handcuffs some people with the mouth. Let me see a trailer.
I'm looking to see what else the director did. Oh my goodness.
Filth?
Oh my goodness. It is a lot of no scores yet on the tomato meter.
Oh no. Cop Dog 8 years ago?
It was in 2008.
He was working on something. I mean, why else would he be way out here in the dark?
This is the trailer?
Pretty.
Nah, that's impossible.
That's a clip.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This can't. No. That can't be right.
Plinkett did a review?
Look, when when his father dies in the line of duty, a boy works with a police dog to solve the crime.
Impossible.
That's why a heartfelt tale about a boy and his dog who set out to crime to solve the death of the young boy's father. I guess I'm watching the Plinkett.
Yeah, Plinkett did a whole review. I can't believe that.
Why is he dead?
I was afraid that the dad's spirit was gonna go in the dog, like 100
Good
Deeds
Deeds
of
for
Eddie
Eddie
McDowell.
I don't get the bluey thing. Anyways, Bakugo's chirping Deku saying I got here first, and Deku saying no, it was Ida. Ida's telling them not to bicker. He was definitely there first. And I'd like to point out the fact that the reason that the car was stopped wasn't fire, speed, or... I don't really know what Deku's whole thing is now. It's ice, so it seems as though Shoto was the first person there. But as Ida is de-suiting, he talks about how the criminal said it was just a sudden impulse and how that means he's not an evil fellow. And how Ida's just happy there was no victims. At this point, Hiroshima laughs about how they're not going to lose their job anytime soon. And it's like, hey man, you probably are. I don't know if we need 19 nation level heroes stopping carjackings. I get that everybody loves heroes, but when the taxpayers realize that they're paying for 20 times more heroes than they need, you might see some cuts. Now at this point,
Yeah,
that everybody in
'cause
class...
What's the process of them getting the crime? It is just a text message just going, hey, there's a crime going on. So do you just fight for whoever gets there first?
Yeah.
say does the... Well, it's getting pretty
Who
late and I got...
informed them that the crime was in process?
I love
Why
how
could the
into-
cops not handle it themselves?
Now at this point that everybody in Class A does the... Well, it's getting pretty late and I got Love Island to watch speech, and Shoto reveals that he already paid for the dinner, which is such a Shoto thing to do, and Pinky gets upset with him because he's the reason they were celebrating in the first place. And thus Momo and Jiro bust out some cash and give it to Shoto. And if we're being real, if we're Momo, are we not just printing cash? Like, I get it, she's got a moral system, she's a good person. I would print cash. Like, it's not like it's gonna turn back into lipids when you use it on something. Like, it is real physical money. Now, Bakugo then takes this opportunity to yell at Deku because it's what he does best, as he tells Deku to wrap up saying goodbye to everybody because he needs to get up early tomorrow because apparently Edgeshot is coming back to Japan. I don't know where he's been, but he's coming back to Japan. Now, it was already...
Another
shot should not be alive.
It's a purely useless line to be like, not only does the relationship between Edgeshot and Bakugo consist, but he's also alive and he's presumably well enough to travel. That's all that is. It's meaningless fluff.
He shouldn't be alive.
He should not be alive.
Revealed that Edgeshot was out of Bakugo and living his own life, not as a suture on his heart, but it was never necessarily revealed that Edgeshot was healthy enough to be doing hero work outside of Japan, so this is a good way to tell us that Edgeshot is fine. Deku then tells Bakugo to come
No,
by.
it's not a good way to tell us that. We don't know how his power... The only reason that we know how his power worked is because he said that that's how it worked.
Yelled it.
I will become this young boy's heart. Boy, I can't keep going, otherwise I will die. He hops out of his heart as a little tiny thing, and you just go, oh, I guess he's just like that for the rest of his life, or whatever. It's like, nah, he's fine. Off screen. I'm like, okay, thank you for not telling us the full extent of his powers, but only letting us know that he's better now. To what extent is he better? I don't know. He's not on the hero rankings from what we see, so maybe he's not. We don't know. We will never know. It is a worthless line. Take it out. It's purely for people to just be like, hey, what about Edgeshot? And they went,
What about him?
Here's Ed. He's coming back from Japan. And by answering a question, Horikoshi doesn't realize that he's just setting up more questions.
UA some time as a guest teacher, and that apparently Aizawa's planning on starting a class based on communication, to which Bakugo responds by saying, don't use me as a bad example. And it's like, hey man, then get better at communication. Deku then starts to walk home, and I was confused because I thought he came here with Bakugo, and Bakugo was like, hey, don't take too long, I need to get back early. But I think Bakugo did drive Deku home. Maybe they don't show it. But anyways, while Deku was walking home, he's thinking about what Bakugo told him and how if he treats everybody special, he's actually treating everybody the same. It's this point that we cut to Uchaku, who's saying goodbye to Froppy and walking her way home. And she's thinking about Deku and how they sat far away from each other in the room and therefore couldn't even talk. But she thinks to
Yes,
herself,
they could.
Yes.
Was there a wall that prevented them from speaking?
Why did they sit down where they sat down? Instead of next to each other so they could speak.
Why didn't y'all speak beforehand? We don't know. So them going, we haven't spoken here, it means nothing because we don't know why they didn't speak to begin with.
Where's her parents? Are they well off? Did she do the things she wanted to do for them?
Is she well off?
that's okay, though, because they see each other a lot for work. She then thinks about the moment that led to the extinguishment of One for All and Deku, when Deku flew up to the cliff that Uchaku was on top of to essentially talk her down from it, and thinks about how in that moment she discovered what she wanted and needed to do, which was to help people with the court counseling services. She then thinks about how her and Deku respect each other's choices and continue smiling at each other, and how that alone is more than she could ask for. But how, in actuality, when she fell in love with Izuku Midoriya, confirming that Uchaku is, yes, in love with Izuku Midoriya, that she really wanted to talk to him.
It's been confirmed. She screamed that during Toga's fight.
At this moment.
A bit more. And it's this point that we see that Deku is chasing after Uchaku, splitting through the crowd. And as he sees her, he says, "Oh great, you're here." But as
Hey,
Deku
are you
springs-
Deku? The dude that punched Satan? Hey!
Oh yeah, that's me.
Oh, Miss Ochako, my niece wanted to talk to you about her razor fingers. She's having a real rough time. Oh, you're busy. I'm terribly sorry. Let's go, sweetie.
Oh.
Ow! You know, bitch. Told you not to grab my hand. You gonna use your quirk? If only there was somebody that could counsel you.
But she's busy finding the love of her life. So it's another night of cutting off your fingers.
towards
Keeping
Uchaku.
them in Band-Aid shopping business. Can't keep
Does
from
he see-
going to this. I can't stand you with your razor fingers.
Sees her, he says, "Oh great, you're here." But as Deku sprints towards Uchaku, she thinks of Toga, and Toga tells Uchaku, "Chaku, it's fine." Now to this point, that Deku tells Uchaku that he
What's
was
happening here? Is she remembering her dreams for some reason? When she said that she couldn't remember them, she's just remembering them now. What does that mean?
Or is the dream manifesting itself
in
her
real
mind?
life, is her blood just her blood is pumping so hard
Yes.
that
It is
she's
overloaded.
manifesting.
Yes, sir. Thematically.
Loves everyone, and for a long time he thought that was good enough. But today, he really wanted to talk to Uchaku more. But not just today, from today till the rest of time. And at this point that we see Uchaku talking to Toga, and Toga is telling Uchaku that she's lived exactly how she wanted to. And since Toga loves Uchaku so much, her wish is that Uchaku gets to live exactly how—
Look how far she gets pushed.
Go back, because she's there facing, she's there facing Toga in her hero outfit, and then the next panel is her being pushed in her, Toga's behind her, pushing her. What is this?
Toga loves Uchaku so much, her
Oh,
wish is
it's
that
a
Uchaku
metaphor
gets to
for,
live
no, it's
exactly
not.
how Toga lived, which is exactly how Toga wanted. And thus Toga
Yeah, couldn't you just see this as Uraraka creating an excuse in her mind to be happy?
Anytime she does something, she don't want to know. Oh, it's just Toga again.
What's that, Toga time? Oh, all right, yeah. She said I had to steal that candy bar.
I can't come into work today, Toga. I got the togas. Like you keep spit. You can't.
All right, so Uraraka has 6 days, PTO, and Toga days.
You got 3 toga days left, Uraraka. With these kids, the Razor dude, the daddy from the Razor Finger, he keep calling me. The phone is ringing off
Hey,
the hook.
the mom's hands are cut to shreds. Like, at some point, we gotta deal with
We
this.
have to help them, and you keep taking toga days.
in this field takes Uchaku by the shoulders and pushes her. And it's revealed that Toga is physically pushing Uchaku towards Deku. As Deku says, I want to. Uchaku is now stumbled into Deku, exclaims, oh, and she thinks to herself, it's been a month since that day, the day that Deku got his suit, and now I get to see him more. Deku then follows up by saying, well, what do you say? As to say, would you like to talk to me more? To which Uchaku responds by saying, oh, and she begins to laugh. And it's this moment that we see in the field plane where Uchaku and Toga were existing together, that Toga still has her arms extended, as if to continue pushing Uchaku away.
Wouldn't it
and
be
therefore,
better if she was not there anymore, as her job was done?
Yes, that would have been.
You are now living the way that you want to, and I am no longer needed.
Or
as
even
I
if it was fading away, like it started completely clear on the upper right hand side, and then it just started slowly turning white, or even towards whatever.
Or Uchaku, with a giant smile and a blush on her face, reaches out to Deku and says, we were thinking the same thing. And Deku extends his hand to hers, and the two of them clasp each other. And that is the final panel of the manga, as Uchaku and Deku finally admit their love to each other. And
That's not what happened. Unless you're about to say that's not what happened here.
Oh boy, what a frame.
it is kind of just a handshake. This is supposed to be a confirmation of the fact that they are now going to begin dating. Confirming that—
Nope, that's not what's happening here.
There's a lot of ways to interpret what just happened there.
But it's not objectively, this is what's happening here. They're going to talk more. They may not have anything in common, and they may not be dating. They may just be friends, or they may start dating. But do not say this is confirmation of them starting to date, because
it
it's
is
simply
the
not.
most likely scenario of what just happened. The most likely interpretation of the situation.
But at the end of the day, it is still just an interpretation.
Yes, a surprise, surprise, Deku ended up with Uraraka.
Did not happen.
Are we even remotely surprised? Water is wet. The sky is blue.
Okay, so if that's the case, we would also have to be like, I was about to say what you said, Momo and but Kirishima
Got in your head.
and Mina. Surely that is what's happening here, because they did set that up a lot. They set up Kirishima and Jiro a lot. They set up Invisible Girl and Belly Button. Shut up. These people's names don't matter.
High key, they kind of don't matter.
I'm in China. Did we genuinely think for 1 second they weren't gonna end up together? I mean, I guess, yeah, kind of, because, the manga ended a couple of months ago and they weren't together. Oh, come on. Oh, no, wait, what are we talking talking about? Did we think that a non-BL manga was gonna have Deku and Bakugo end up together? Did you think that Toga was gonna
Hey,
be...
that would have been fine, I guess.
Or nobody ending up with anybody.
Yeah. I don't care. Like, there are manga where dudes are gonna end up together and it's not BL.
risen from the grave because of her blood ability and end up with Utaku? Like, yeah, sure, that'd be fun, that'd be interesting, I guess. But sometimes, guys, we gotta play it by the numbers. We gotta play straight down the middle, all pun intended. And yeah, with that, that is the ending of chapter 431. The answering to all of the upset outcries from the MHA fandom. And the public reception to this chapter has been exponentially better than the public reception of chapter 430. I have gotten several texts from several friends who are upset with the ending of MHA saying they forgive Horikoshi and everything's better now. And like, that's fair. I guess it is 40
they
are fools.
They do not. They are fair weather. If this is all
they
that
don't
it takes,
understand what they were upset about.
yes, and again, simply by giving them anything, they're satiated. Hey, what's Froppy doing? Well, you have your answer here. She is with Uraraka. She is number 36, and that's what she's doing. And then the people that are just like, what's Froppy doing? They have their answer, and they may be satiated.
I, a Froppy fan, am not satiated.
I'm not. I love Toga. I'm not satiated with this. She's a physical ghost that's totally here, but not also. All Might,
Yeah.
like I said, there is no point to mention All Might, so he's not here. So we're not talking about him at all.
additional pages that tells us more about what's happening in the post-time skip era. But like really when it comes down to it, all this chapter really accomplished was showing us the ranking, showing us what everybody looked like in the post-time skip era, and confirming what we all already knew, that Deku and Uchaku were
So
gonna end
why
up
was
together.
it perfect?
Yeah.
What more did it do? Other than useless rankings, something that we already knew, like you said, and showing us post-time skip designs, which could have just been on a volume extra.
Listen, that's not me saying that I don't appreciate getting this chapter. I do. I loved it. But I also liked chapter 430. So I was obviously going to like chapter 431. I'm curious to hear from you guys. Do you appreciate this chapter? Do
Terrible
you believe this is
mindset.
a better ending to MHA than chapter 430? Do you believe the manga is saved now? Tell me in the comments below. Why got you down there, please?
Love his tattoos,
For me,
though.
like this
Good
video,
tattoos.
subscribe to the page, and hit that notification.
Wow, I wish I was
Ochiro
white.
and Momo sitting next to each other.
I was
They're the
talking to,
perfect
my
Vi and
coworker
Caitlyn
about that.
combo.
I was
Actually,
like,
now that we're talking
I
about
wish
it,
I had fair skin.
we can do this now because they're adults, and that's important.
If just for the tattoos. Colored tattoos are awesome.
They just don't show up as well on the Chaco skin.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy sucks.
He really.
I'm gonna go anomaly just because it was mostly synopsis of what was going on the page.
And like I said,
And I might even cut this video up exponentially and cut out all that. Here's me reading this.
when I was looking, it was all just this, and a couple people going, "Yo, this chapter sucked." But muffs just do not have an opinion about this chapter online.
How can you?
'Cause
Maybe it's because it's so quote unquote hard to find. It's not in all the typical places. People aren't really reading it.
Nah, because when it happened, it was trending on Twitter.
Sure, but that's I'm talking about YouTubers and stuff.
The people that wanted to read this, they read it, and they would have an
I
opinion.
wanted to read it. I just read it.
When it was when it first came out, it was a lot easier to get because they scrubbed it. I don't know what happened there, but I was looking. I was just like, let me refresh this real quick. They scrubbed it.
Crazy.
Yeah, Manga Dex, Reddit, Twitter, all this stuff. It was just gone. So back then, he was using scans and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
he's using the same thing I was using, I think.
So, yeah, it is just not a very good chapter. It does nothing.
Actively bad chapter, you mean?
Actively bad chapter. All, like you said, all it does is just the rankings. And if you want the ranking just for your Wikipedia, you do that. But just knowing Gang Orca is 22 does nothing for me.
Zilcho.
I would much rather just hear in 5 pages about Gentle and LaBrava. That's
Hey.
where I would be.
Hey.
I don't need Todoroki going, I want to make a bowl.
It'll make the soba taste better.
In 3.5 pages. While Momo says nothing.
That's the craziest part, because I was like, was Momo... Because I didn't remember her saying
She's
anything.
just there.
Yeah, she's literally there for nothing.
Nejire, just there for nothing. It's not even like these are the top 3 heroes. They're just, I guess, the number 1, the number 7, and a sidekick.
Yeah, why did Nejire and Sun Eater go there? They did nothing.
They did nothing. It's crazy that anybody would be satisfied with this.
It's because they got the few things they wanted. A little bit more about what the kids are doing, a little bit of the hero rankings and how they've accomplished it, and Uraraka and Deku. And that's enough.
Take away, because the post-war stuff, it was just a lot of faffing about.
Yep.
Cut that in half, put that into the future stuff, lengthen it, and explain some more.
No, I'm out of here.
No, they're deuces. It's just like,
good.
they're not a couple. They might be a couple. I'm not gonna talk about Momo. Does Tokoyami have a friend, a girlfriend? I don't know. I don't care. You don't care. He's on a bird hair shampoo. That's funny. We're moving on. Do people want Deku to speak around the world, but also he's a myth? Okay, sure.
Yep.
What's the problem?
That's exactly how it works.
Ghost Girl, that's physical representation in a nightly dreams and also in reality. Yeah, whatever. They're dating, but
That
they're
sounds
not,
great.
or they are.
Terrible.
Horikoshi, the fall off,
Has to be studied.
legendary.
I've never seen anybody go from a legitimate 8.59 manga to a 6 manga, then a 10 arc, and then a 2 manga.
Just all the wrong choices. Get this muff in an Iron Man suit. Why? Hey, you gotta fight. No, he doesn't.
He really doesn't. He don't even want to do it, really.
And
He got a taste of it, and
this tech shouldn't exist.
But it does.
And it will.
Because I need it to.
And here it is.
Please do not question me.
Yeah.
And that should be the entire chapter. Don't question it.
Mhm.
Absorb the information and clap.
Yep. Mount Lady's number 4. Yep. Kamui Woods.
What did that do for you, audience? Oh, you know Mount
Aren't you
Lady?
happy?
And she's doing very well. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. Great.
Did she get by on her sex appeal? That she was constantly trying to peddle? And is that why she's higher than Mirako? Who knows?
Who knows?
Did she clean up and stop doing that and become an actual hero based on the final war arc? Who knows?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Here's her number.
4.
Hey, you like big hands, don't you? Cut
Hey,
ALX.
I love-
Like, yeah, thank you, Horikoshi, you for telling me where big hands is. I appreciate that.
And you must in the comments can stop telling us her actual hero name. I don't care.
Oh, but you correct me for Sero in Anima?
The only reason I'm correcting you for them is because you're getting them confused with another character.
I ain't
Like
getting-
if I was calling Big Hand in Kamui Woods or something. Absolutely, you should be like
when I go tape man, you go Sero. Don't say you don't do that. Oh, no, okay, so now it's pivoting onto something else. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
triggered.
Because yours is derogatory. You're saying
Yeah, they don't deserve for me to remember their name.
Yeah, I'm going. Big Hand is cool.
Sure.
I like the name Big Hand.
And that's who she is.
Yes.
And that's all there is.
Tape man.
But Tape Man, Tape Guy, I don't like him, and that's all he is. So don't be like, nah, he's more than Tape Guy. He's the guy that went up to Satan and just like, I don't know about all this sad backstory or whatever. I'm just here to not fail my test. I'm gonna tape you up, Satan. Rah!
And he does.
And he didn't.
We know what we're doing Saturday. It's a continuation. It's not the continuation that people want, but it's a continuation.
Hopefully finish that off. We didn't have too much left.
Yep, so we'll probably finish that off. And then next week will be a regular episode, and then a week after we'll do another regular stream, and then we might take a week or 2 off to do a year-end best and worst of ALX stuff. That's if we're feeling it. But DSP Day will definitely continue, so don't even worry about that part. Don't even worry about that part. We got to do a makeup.
Especially since every single time he just does like a crash out after we do our stream.
It's like clockwork. Maybe it's because just that, hey, one, we do it in the final month. So it's after his YouTube payment, so he knows where he's at financially for that month. And it's coming up on his biggest bills, like his mortgage and all of that stuff. So he's like, where's that in money? And once he gets them $16, it's like, y'all, cut that out. Empty them pockets, cucks.
I have $33 for Marvel Rivals. Guys, you guys can pick my character, $20. Now, guys, $20. Guys.
Dude, I was listening to...
It's done. I'm deleting. I'm never playing it again.
I was listening to a clip. Somebody clipped of that. And he was just like, $20, you can pick my character. And I seeked for, and he goes, $20, you can... And I did it a third time. He said, no, forget $20. I cut that clip off. I couldn't even hear it anymore.
He ended with like $32.
Why wouldn't he do $5 for a match, $20 for an hour?
No, $20. I'll pick the character.
The final hour is going to be whoever gives me $20 first. $5 per match, though. Otherwise, I'm going to pick a character.
And then you just have to contrast that with last night where he got $400 or something.
Now, guys, we could,
swinging his nuts all over the place, as opposed to just this crybaby. Guys, the chicken. I need to eat.
And then he's gonna go. What did he say recently? Guys, we hit $300. We can get to that third goal, you know what I'm saying?
And,
if we just, you know,
and it's just incremental goals with nothing behind it.
And it's the funniest thing because it's no longer like $50 is the goal. So every $50, $150 is the goal. So y'all hit the one, hit the second. The second goal is another $150.
Pay up. And you don't get a vest. You don't get glasses. All you get is just me eating something. And you love this.
You can't even explain it well enough. You're not a culinary master. You're not some tastemaker. You're a nothing. You're just some dude on the internet. And if you want to be some dude on the internet, you can be entertaining while eating things. I watch a lot of people do that type of shit. Review Bra is great.
Calm down. Calm down.
Don't do this.
He's not great in the way of it should be great. He's some weird vampire.
That's what's great about it.
Exactly. Don't say he's great like somebody who can properly just go, yes, the
no, okay. There's different levels of greatness. I'm just
saying, don't say that he's great like he is informative.
No, he's not.
He's just this weird vampire that is just like,
with just complete deadpan jokes. Just like the streets were filled with blood as the people trampled over each other for this item. And it's just like, there's no real joke there, but I love it. But then I watch, chefs cook up something or eat fast food and just like, I can taste this, blah, 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 blah. I love those, and we got 3 chefs to try like every box brownie. I still love that. I can taste it, the caramelization of fries, of frozen fries. I love that series.
Are you telling me you don't love this?
I seriously have not opened the box yet. I'm going to be pretty upset if I open this and there's nothing in it.
Shut up.
Some people like that. Okay.
Don't put something in your mouth.
It was so moist. That was a moist shoe.
Because everything's coming out of the opposite end, I'm going to bite it from the butt end now.
You don't love this?
No. I just want to hear him explain it. Okay, here we go. If he talks about heat...
I think they forgot my sour cream.
That's worthless.
Do you see any sour cream in there?
Dude,
You don't love this?
No.
Let's get this first
No
bite and
hot
see what
sauce.
he says.
It's great.
Heat's coming.
Supreme
Acidity.
chalupa from Taco Bell with Diablo sauce. Let's see if it's any good.
He didn't look in pain with that bite though. Moist. This is worthless.
Yeah, this isn't what you're here for?
No. Dude, what the
What's the problem?
Well, I don't know if it's just because I've had a bad day or I'm hungry, but it actually tastes good. I love the chalupa shell. It's soft but chewy and a little crunchy on the outside. Has that fried flavor to it. I really like
That's
it.
because
The Diablo sauce has just a
No, don't play. Oh, he was gonna say eat.
little bit of heat.
He can't not, because that's the only way you can describe these things. Why is his eye so wide?
Here it comes.
I like Taco Bell.
Pure clown mode.
He's so
And
creative.
that's the problem with these food things. He feels like he has to reward them in some way.
Yeah.
So he goes clown mode.
But he's only rewarding himself because he's just trying new food items from fast food places.
I love that he hated those in
Oh,
pizza.
he was.
I love
He
that.
was happy.
I was so happy about that.
Good.
But yeah, Sunday was the big microphone thing that he just.
That was one of the worst streams he's ever done in his life.
So it's always after we do the DSP streams, and I hate it.
Hey, or we're the reason and we keep doing it and then we keep getting gold
We
even
put
if
it
we
out
can't
into the
talk
world.
about gold. Yeah, we put that energy out there. Yep. All right, we're out of here. Don't stay tuned. Stay tuned. I don't care. Any ETA on the thing you're doing?
Not happening.
You gave up
My
on
whole
it.
motivation has died.
Yep. Okay.
Because it would have been too much.
All right.
Because I would have need to do the conversation as well.
Yeah.
And there's too much there.
I don't
it's
think
just
there's
like-
too much there actually.
It would be too much
Mm-hmm.
with the three things that I needed to do.
Okay.
Which would be the conversation, the old video, and the conversation where he talked about us for like 20 minutes. It would have been too much.
All right.
And it pisses me off.
Uh,
Because it was ready if he didn't just rock up for some reason.
Yeah. He was gonna make a response video for Triggered, but he lost his motivation. There you go.
Why?
Yeah.
He ruined DSP Day.
He ruined DSP Day.
And what was accomplished?
We got confirmation we're gonna keep getting copyright struck by him.
And he just didn't understand because he's so stupid.
He's so stupid, y'all.
He didn't ask a question.
That dude, I felt like I was going crazy. And that was within like 3 minutes of our conversation. Why didn't you answer his question? He didn't ask a question. He didn't ask a question just now. Literally did.
The stalker thing.
That was funny to me.
Literally about to say stalker.
Yeah, no, and then he cut himself off, but now that y'all put it out there, y'all are like stalkers. How? Because people bring us clips and we talk about them? Y'all don't know what the f you doing right now?
Absolutely insane.
Dude, insane conversation. I think that's probably going to be our last one ever. I don't think he ever comes back to us.
I don't think so.
He's just going to keep copyright striking us when we do videos based on them. And good luck.
I hope not, because I do not have the inclination to talk to him anymore. Because if you remember it began with, because we got the question out of just like, why didn't you come to us first if that's what you wanted? He just goes, why should I? And it's like, okay.
Then why are you coming now?
What's the purpose of coming here?
Just goofy shit.
I wanted to release the claim. It would have been released anyway.
Yeah, that was the funniest.
Why'd you do it in the first place if you were just
Because of the
release it
history.
2 days? He really tried to semantic that.
Dude, it happened in the past, right? So it's history. Like, bruh.
At the time when you struck it and didn't come to us, it was because of the history, and that at that point it was in the present. But what you're talking about now is in the history and it's in the past tense, right? Jesus.
Hey, Triggered, explain our history. I'm not going to...
Because what could he say?
Every time I've ever done anything on y'all, it's been a response. Not this time. All right, so not every time.
Just explain the bad. Well, I'm not going to explain something stupid like that. Because what could he say?
Yeah.
You guys recorded me. Apologized already.
Streamed.
And what else? Well, you guys did videos on me. Okay, we've done videos, 400 videos on other people.
400
videos.
Not even live streams.
On YouTube. We have 400 videos, and less than 20 of them are for you. What's the bad? It's not about you. Yes, it is about me, because you guys are talking about me. Yeah.
I don't think as long as I'm on the internet, I'm gonna find a stupider person that you're gonna
I don't think if as long as I'm alive, I will never find a stupider person.
Nah.
A more stubborn person.
A more stubbornly stupid person.
Because he was just not listening.
Or he was listening but not absorbing the information. He was just kind of letting it bounce off of him and regurgitating the point, letting whatever he wanted to permeate his mind.
And a good example of exactly what was happening with him, he just goes, look at y'all chat. It's like, why are you looking at chat?
I was not looking
at
chat.
Are you not listening to us? Are you looking at chat? What's the purpose of going to the chat? That he just
I haven't even gone back and watched it and looked at the chat in that way.
I also have not.
Like, I don't know what the chat was saying to this day. Like, shut the up. We're talking to you. We, not our chat.
Yeah, so, like I said, I don't see a reason to talk to him anymore.
Yeah.
But once he comes up again, it's going to be like, yeah, let's go. Because it's fun, because he's stupid.
I don't know if it would be fun anymore, because he's already shown what he is. We always knew he was stupid. But now he's stupid and malicious. Like, you're trying to take the channel down with copyright strikes.
Legal copyright
strikes. With a copyright you don't own. Legal. Oh, it's about identity. YouTube took it down for its identity. No, it took it down for its custom thumbnail, which you do not own. No, but that's part of the identity. All right, select identity then. It's not an option. Then it's not for the identity. How stupid can a person be?
This isn't an identity strike. You can't just copyright anything and then put it in the description like, this is what the actual strike is for, by the way. I know I chose You Stole My Song, but
I know you played no music in your shit, but it's actually for this. So YouTube, hop tour.
Crazy. Legitimately crazy.
And that's why I don't think because even if he comes on and it comes in and let's have a respectful conversation, I can't believe it.
Yeah. Out the gate, he was just like, oh, I'm glad you guys have told me this now.
Yeah. Like, at this point, it's just like...
Clearly wasn't coming in good faith.
It's nothing to talk to that man about. And I believe we're still blocked over there because I tried to do my reply. That said, links can hide it, but as far as I understand, we're still blocked over there. Especially since I got no notifications for him adding us once, because not the second time.
Because he did not spell it correctly.
Yeah, because he's stupid. Yeah. Look forward to whenever he releases that One Piece and or Demon Slayer video.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But he talked about taking a long time on the Don video, and it was 10 minutes.
Yeah, and what's the editing look like on that?
I was about to say that.
Because there's no reason that should take any form of a long time.
It's manga panels. It's not.
No, that shouldn't take a long time then.
It's finding the manga panels. I'll say for the check it out, finding
manga panels. Finding manga panels, I can see.
Every art arc, then that shit better be crazy. Now, I know there are people out there that don't like the villain of the week formula and prefer a story that has a more clear direction and end goal. One of the biggest criticisms on Dandadan is that it has no direction and the structure
Can I pause this?
You just said the same thing as Luis.
The issue with Triggered so often is that he can't just form an opinion and speak on that opinion. It's always got to be what other mothers are saying.
People said.
The people say this, and I'm gonna agree or disagree with that thing. And then he'll bring up maybe an example, hopefully, and that's basically it. That's the entire format of his script.
It's crazy.
It's either that or making fun of a character that's on screen.
And never forget the comparison to other thing.
He sucks.
All right, curtain down. I still got art to do.
Yep.
As always.
I am about an hour away from AEW.
I can't even think of a way to.
No.
There's nothing.
Yeah, no.
I've lost my
the next time Triggered comes in, sound an alarm.
No. No, because
Stop timing people without our permission.
Yeah, we might have to start doing something about that if that sticks around.
We're gonna have to start demodding mothers.
Because that is just a notch against us now. And we don't need that on our head. We've done enough. We will. Just a sad whatever we will. If viewer request must have killed us again.